Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. So I feel like every time I start a video out lately, I'm apologizing because I haven't uploaded in a minute. But you know, with everything that's been going on for the last few weeks, I just haven't been doing the best with all of it, and I figured there was no point in uploading just to say that I uploaded. But I am feeling a little bit better today, so I thought, you know, why not give you guys a little lighthearted, even if only for 20 minutes, escape of everything that's going on. And what better way to come back than by dragging Victoria's Secret for a little bit. If you guys have not seen my other downfall videos, today I'll be going over the rise and fall of Victoria's Secret. So if you guys want to see that, then just stay tuned. Although I feel how I feel about Victoria's Secret, I can say that at that time, they were to the lingerie industry what Nicki Minaj is to women's rap, all right? They were sitting on top of that throne. They were that girl. If you said, where can I get lingerie or loungewear, first thing someone probably would have said when they were that girl is Victoria's Secret. And I understand why Victoria's Secret reigned supreme as long as it did, but I also understand why it fell off. If you think about it now, social media plays a very important part of what makes or breaks your brand. But think back to when Victoria's Secret was that top it girl. Yeah, there was social media, but it wasn't as make or break it for your brand as it is right now. What made your brand back then was literally how you physically branded yourself. Think back to actual Victoria's Secret stores, traditional marketing like billboards, stuff like that. On TV, they had the Victoria's Secret fashion show. That is what made Victoria's Secret back in the day. Think like Tumblr times when people were still on Tumblr. You saw those pink stores, you know, everyone wanted their little pictures with the bags. They wanted their pictures of the stores, and they wanted more so like the pictures of the pink stores than, you know, actual Victoria's Secret. But everyone wanted pictures of that because they were it was very, you know, cutesy with the stores. And I think at some point people even started associating pink with Victoria's Secret more than the fact that it's a lingerie store. Like the pink store was associated with it more than the Victoria's Secret store. Like you could probably, when I said Tumblr, you probably thought of the type of pictures that were associated with pink faster than you thought of seeing the Victoria's Secret store on Tumblr, which I'll get into later on. So they were very good at branding themselves that way. They had a store that you wanted to walk into, like Victoria's Secret, Gilly Hicks, Hot Topic, Hollister. Those are stores that you saw them and it looked cool to go into. You know, there were what was that? What store is that called? It starts with a B. Banana Republic. There's okay. It's nice. It's clean inside. But there was nothing, you know, that wanted to draw you into there. You know, Hollister, they had porches, they had couches. It was dark, it was mysterious. Hot Topic, you know, for a different aesthetic, but it was still a store that was just kind of like, this actually looks cool to be in. And at that time, that's what mattered. That's what drew people into the stores. With the traditional marketing like billboard stuff like that, they had the Victoria's Secret Angels. I'm pretty sure YouTube's been around over a decade now. Back in the day, you could best believe after the Victoria's Secret fashion show, the next day you would probably wake up to like 2,000 Victoria's Secret bombshell, angel curls inspired, angels makeup inspired videos on YouTube. So they were very good at that aesthetic when that type of branding is what sold your brand. And honestly, that's what kept Victoria's Secret on top for as long as it was there. It really wasn't even the products that they were selling. It was the way that they branded themselves, because they were able to create an aesthetic where it was like, you felt you were part of something by shopping from Victoria's Secret. It's like when people buy their beauty blender and it's like, yes, I did just spend $20 on this sponge, but you know what? This is gonna elevate my makeup to a whole new level, okay? I'm part of that top beauty guru crowd now. And people openly said, you know, that's how they felt when they bought a beauty blender, because the beauty blender was able to market itself through, you know, multiple different things in a way where it's like once you bought it, you felt like everything about your makeup was going to get better. And I think I've mentioned this in just about every downfall video that I've done, where there are certain brands that are able to market themselves in a way where it's like, if you're not shopping from them, like, you're not cool. Like, what? What do you mean you don't have a stuffed dog on your shelf at home? Oh, you can't sit with us. So they were able to market themselves in that way, and that's what kept them on top. But like slowly, piece by piece, like hole by hole, started getting poked into this aesthetic, and it's ultimately what caused their demise. Like, think about what I just said. When a lot of people hear Victoria's Secret, they think pink. They think the pink store before they think Victoria's Secret, the lingerie store. And that's a problem for Victoria's Secret, because granted, I never worked for Victoria's Secret. I did work for Gilly Hicks, who at the time was probably one of their biggest competitors. If you guys didn't know, Gilly Hicks is the sister brand for Hollister, Abercrombie and Fitch. That was the brand that sold lingerie for them. That was their biggest competitor at the time. So I would assume that Gilly Hicks and Victoria's Secret have the same target audience. Every brand has a target audience. Can a 12-year-old go into Victoria's Secret and buy something? Yes. Can a 72-year-old go into Victoria's Secret and buy something? Yes. But I guarantee you, neither the 12 or the 72-year-old are Victoria's Secret's target audience. Going off of Gilly Hicks's target audience, I would guess that Victoria's Secret's target audience is someone who is white, a woman, and about 25. That was the target audience for Gilly Hicks. So I'm assuming it's around the same place for Victoria's Secret. Now, if you were around for the Gilly Hicks time and think back to Gilly Hicks clothing, and you're 25, right? Well, actually, not even. If you were in your late teens, early 20s when Gilly Hicks was still a thing, and even 25 right now, and like knew what Gilly Hicks was, would you be wearing Gilly Hicks? But I was 18, 19, 18, somewhere around there. Like, I had just graduated from high school when I was working there. I didn't want to wear the Gilly Hicks clothing. Like, I'm 18 years old walking around with a bow on my chest. Like, what? But that is who their target audience was. So imagine how frustrating it was working there, and like the holidays come, like the time when people are buying gift cards, and someone comes in, they want to buy a gift card, and then you get screamed at for 10 minutes because there's a shirtless guy on the gift card. How many times I've had someone say, you want me to give my granddaughter this gift card and there's a shirtless guy on it? Okay, well, ma'am, I mean, you have the option of putting some tape over his chest if you don't want your granddaughter to see that. I'm giving this to kids. You're selling to kids. No, ma'am, I'm not. That's the thing. No, I'm not. Well, not me. I don't care about Gilly Hicks. But Gilly Hicks' target audience was not children. It wasn't people who were in middle school, people who would feel some type of way of seeing a shirtless guy on the gift card. But that's what their branding led them to, because their target audience wasn't interested in what they were selling because it looked kiddish. And that was a problem for Gilly Hicks, and that became a problem for Victoria's Secret. Like I said, Victoria's Secret's target audience is probably the same as Gilly Hicks. You know, women in their mid-20s, that's probably their target audience. But if you start to associate pink with Victoria's Secret before you associate the fact that it's a lingerie store, that's a problem, because pink, think about it, it's very, you know, like if Claire's decided it was gonna start selling loungewear, it's childish, let's be honest. It's you know, pink, like I said, stuffed dogs, cute little graphic tees, you know, little things across the butt on their sweatpants. It's, you don't like, yes, of course there were 20, 30, 40-year-olds wearing it, but it's how the brand associates itself and how the marketing comes off that made it a lot more of a, you know, teenager store, a lot more of a, yeah, maybe college student store. So if that's how that's going for pink, and people associate pink before they associate it with the fact that you're a lingerie store, that's a problem for you. And then you start looking at the actual lingerie part of Victoria's Secret, and you're like, y'all aren't doing too good here when it comes to marketing. Because I don't know if you guys remember when Savage first launched, I remember the night that it launched, everyone was like, all right, I'm waiting for the site. I'm about to sell this out. And I started seeing the tweets of people tweeting about it, and they were like, oh, okay, that's not what I was expecting. Because you think Savage, it's owned by Rihanna, and it's lingerie. So those two coming together, this should give you like the sexiest thing that you've ever seen before. And then we saw it, and it was just kind of like, oh, okay. And I don't know if you guys noticed, but you know, Savage x Fenty did a little quick rebrand. You started seeing a little bit sexier ads on social media and stuff like that, and they quickly, you know, got that together there. Victoria's Secret didn't get that memo at like any point, because at some point their lingerie, their advertising wasn't giving like sexy. You know, you add in the fact that it's low-key being taken over with the whole pink aesthetic, and their lingerie brand was starting to give like, girl next door just got her period a couple weeks ago, and now, you know, she's going into the Victoria's Secret section to get a bra for the first time. That's what their lingerie was giving. It wasn't giving, you know, that sexy vibe to it. So now Victoria's Secret has a problem of its brand aesthetic kind of being taken over by this whole kiddie pool, you know, shallow end of the pool vibe taking over. And you throw in that their lingerie is giving very, you know, bland, unseasoned, and then you throw in their lack of diversity, and it was the beginning of the end for Victoria's Secret. Now don't get it twisted, people have been calling Victoria's Secret out for years about their lack of diversity. No one cared. I say this all the time with makeup, like, don't get it twisted, people with deeper complexions have been talking about the lack of shade range and stuff like that with makeup brands for years. Just no one cared until, you know, social media became a bigger thing, and it was kind of like you had to listen, because social media gives you a way of reaching more people, and the people who are receiving this message, it gives you a chance to get out of your bubble. You know, if you're in a bubble where everyone around you thinks like you, everyone around you agrees on the same thing, then you never really get it. But with social media, it allows you to reach more people, to see more different perspectives, and to really sit there and think, oh, you know, like maybe they do deserve to wear makeup like I can. Maybe they do deserve, you know, the same clothes that I can wear in their sizing. So that's when it started to matter more in recent years. People have been calling out Victoria's Secret for years, because it was like, all of your angels look the same. Of course, they've had, you know, angels of different skin tones throughout the time, but you can look at Victoria's Secret and tell who they want to be wearing their clothes and the aesthetic that they're trying to give. Now, it worked for them in past years because no one cared. No one cared about a more diverse look to the brand. But in recent years, it did matter more. So people were like, why do all of your models look the same? Why don't you guys actively promote different skin tones? And we'll get into the final nail in the coffin for them not being diverse a little later on. But that also started, like, the wheels started rolling with Victoria's Secret. And then, you know, like, they slowly started adding a couple deeper, darker skin toned models. Not just on the Angel fashion show every year, but on the website and stuff like that. But even then, like, you could still tell, listen, remember that target audience I said before? That's who we're going to promote on our pages. That's who we want to show wearing Victoria's Secret. And people were like, well, okay. And I don't know if you guys saw, but I feel like it's been like the last 2 years, like that's really where people were just like, I'm kind of good on Victoria's Secret. It came in the lack of using transgender women with Victoria's Secret and plus size women with Victoria's Secret. Now, like I said, especially with it being a lingerie brand, people have been saying, like, why don't you, not just the lingerie, but the lingerie and the loungewear, like, why don't you guys make plus size clothing? Plus size wants to be sexy too. They want to wear lingerie too. And again, no one cared. But now that we're in this time of social media right now where like you're being called out more for not being inclusive with clothing size and stuff like that, very recently people brought the conversation again to Victoria's Secret, like, why don't you guys make plus size clothing, and why don't you have any, you know, transgender angels during the fashion show and stuff like that. And if I can find it, like, I'll leave it either on the screen or in the description down below. But I believe Victoria's Secret said something to the effect that plus size women and transgender women cannot sell the fantasy that Victoria's Secret wants to promote. Remember I said social media will make or break you? Right now, that's what broke Victoria's Secret. And, you know, with working at Gilly Hicks, I also worked at Hollister. I met the owner. Everything you guys have heard about that guy is true. He is one of I've met a lot of unpleasant people. One of the most unpleasant interactions I've ever had before. But he did flat out say, like, my clothes are not made for ugly people. They're not made for fat people. Basically, my clothes are made for blonde, skinny, beach bods. If I find it, I'll post it on the screen as well. And he flat out said that, and it worked at that time. Like, people were still shopping there, people didn't care, and they knew that. So they knew, okay, even if like I offend some people, it wasn't for you anyway. So the people who it's for are still going to shop there. But like I said, we've evolved. So I've seen people say, even if a brand does cater to me, how they treat others also plays into whether or not I'll give them my money. So you can't even rely on that now in 2020, Victoria's Secret. Because let's be honest, we all knew Victoria's Secret had a fantasy that did not include plus size women, didn't include transgender women, didn't include black women, Asian women. It didn't include anyone. We knew who they were selling their fantasy to. But it's different when you actually hear them say it. And I know some people look at things like that and they're like, well, I can respect them for saying that. Thank you for letting me know that it's not for me, because now I don't have to give you my money. And Victoria's Secret is not the only brand to feel that way. We know there are plenty of brands out there who, you know, internally, we don't want someone who looks like you wearing our clothes. We don't make our stuff for people who look like you, but they don't say it. And yes, you can respect a brand that does say it, because now you know that you don't give them your money. But when you think about this internally and you're that brand's PR team, how are you supposed to handle situations like this? Like, what am I supposed to do with this dumpster fire that you've now put me into? And at the time after they made that statement, I know Nikita Dragon posted like a promo of how she is a transgender woman who can sell the fantasy, and it went viral. It was all over the place. And pause, the nerve of Victoria's Secret to say that they can't sell their fantasy, because what fantasy are you selling? You sell training bra fantasy. You sell uncooked chicken fantasy. What fantasy was Victoria's Secret lingerie? Anyway, moving on. And then like the last final nail in the coffin for Victoria's Secret was competition. You know, Savage did their quick little rebrand there to make it a little bit sexier of a brand. And then you saw Savage everywhere on all kinds of people. You saw it on celebrities and influencers of all skin tones, of all sizes, everywhere. And not just Savage, but you started seeing like more lingerie brands popping up. Like you could probably think of lingerie advertisements that you've seen that like caught your eye because they were inclusive, they were diverse, and all that stuff. And that's really where it was just kind of like, do we need Victoria's Secret anymore? And it was just kind of like, no, you don't. And I think it was like late last year where Victoria's Secret announced they're no longer doing the fashion show anymore. And I remember I had tweeted out something like, I said something like, what the people asked for, give us more inclusive advertisements, give us a more inclusive angel show. And Victoria's Secret was just like, well, if that's what you guys want, we're just gonna cancel it altogether. And you know, I think that tweet started going a little viral, started getting its little retweets and stuff like that. And someone had said to me, I'm so sick and tired of this whole everything has to be inclusive, everything has to include everybody. Brands don't have to include everyone, okay? They can decide that they want to sell to whoever they want to sell to. And I remember this tweet because I replied to that person. I was like, you know what? You are absolutely right. They can literally sell to whoever they want. They can leave out whoever they want to. but I'm not the one who's in discussions of going bankrupt, am I? I'm not the one who is having discussions about how my brand is losing money and how my brand has to cut here and has to cut there, and how we can't do this and we can't do that anymore because people aren't buying from us anymore. So you absolutely positively can run your brand however you want to, but people are entitled to not buy from you. You know what I'm saying? Like, they said that as if I'm the one who's hurting that they choose to not be inclusive. Like, I'll be okay without Victoria's Secret. Will Victoria's Secret be okay is the question. And this is usually the part of the video where I would discuss what a brand could do to save themselves from a complete downfall, but there is no saving Victoria's Secret. They're going to continue to decline and decline and decline until the next JCPenney, you know, until they're filing for bankruptcy at least once a year. I'm pretty sure I've seen an announcement that JCPenney is filing for bankruptcy every year for the last few years, and it's like, haven't they already done that? But I don't know what's going on over there. But that's going to be Victoria's Secret, and it's like, okay, well, if there's no saving them, if there's no coming back for them, where did they go wrong? Is it because they refused to be inclusive? Is it because they, you know, didn't use influencer marketing? And look, if you work in marketing, advertising, PR, I want you to listen very closely, okay? If you realize that the CEO of your company has a problematic mentality or morals, jump off the ship now, okay? Because there's no saving that. It's not possible for you to get hired on and fix a brand whose owner shows that their morals or their mentality go against what you believe in, or go against where society is right now. Because if he says, oh, I don't want ugly or fat people wearing my stuff, what do you, an entry PR person, think you're going to do? You're gonna hire a plus size influencer for a project. He's going to see it. He's going to say, why are they in my stuff? Why am I paying them to promote my stuff? Who did this? Now you're fired. Now that person has a one-off gig, and now there's going to replace you with someone who's going to listen to what they said, that they don't want those type of people using their stuff. So you guys see how there is no fixing that type of brand, because a brand has to align with the owner's vision. So if the owner's vision is a problem, there's no way you're going to fix that unless the brand is, you know, taken over by someone else, unless, you know, that brand is bought out by other people. That's the only way that you're able to fix something like that. Because if not, then your only other choice is to just stay there at the company, realize, okay, well, I can't really do anything that goes against what the brand wants, so I kind of just have to sit here and go along with it. But just know, like, your job is going to be very hard, because you're going to be trolled on social media any single time that you post. Anytime you post, people are going to be like, oh, it's y'all who don't like the ugly people in your stuff. Just know that your job is going to be hard because your brand is a problem. So it's a wrap on Victoria's Secret, and it's also a wrap on this video. But before I go, I did just want to point out that today is Breonna Taylor's birthday. She would have been 27 years old today. If you guys don't know the story, she was an EMT worker who was killed in her sleep by the police, and nothing is happening. This happened 3 months ago, and the police officers are just on administrative leave. So I will leave in the description down below the petition to sign, because you guys have noticed in the last few days, it's shown that pressure works. You know, charges are being filed, laws are being passed. It shouldn't take all of this pressure when things are so very, you know, cut and dry, right and wrong, but it is needed. So your help is appreciated and needed down below. I'll also leave the Gofundme if you for her family, if you would like to donate to that as well. I was talking about it on Instagram, but you know, oftentimes, you know, Black women are left out of this conversation, and we've had, you know, like, publicized, I don't want to say, like, you know, viral or anything like that, like publicized issues like this that included Black women, and it's just kind of like they never really, they never get any type of justice, but they also don't get like the same type of energy. And it's like, if Black lives matter, then all Black lives matter, you know, Black men, Black women, Black LGBT, Black transgender in it specifically. So if they all matter, then we need to give them all the same energy, and I do not want her story to get erased or ignored, even if unintentionally. So I'm gonna keep same energy with that as well. So all that will be linked in the description down below. I am trying to find a balance of keeping my audience informed but also entertained, I guess. It is a lot to process mentally, so just bear with me for the next few weeks, months. I don't know how long that might take. But yeah, I feel like that is pretty much it. So thank you guys for watching this video. Like I said, I'm gonna work on trying to be consistent again, and yeah, that is it. So make sure to thumbs up, comment, and subscribe down below. Thank you all for watching. I will see you in the next one. Bye.